What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm break down what's happening with the economic calendar thus far, what's happening with the charts moving forward, and what's going on with other factors affecting the markets. Before I get into most information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000 or more, you're guaranteed 15 free stocks in total, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, looking at SPY right here, we actually hit this resistance right here. We're starting to turn back down to 512. So far, that's holding us, and we watch to see how well this ends up performing. I want to break down some warnings I have on the charts and also talk about why there is a possible pullback coming in the market. It's a very, very temporary one, a very small one, at least so far. Not saying it's a crash or anything like that. I'm going to break down more details about this in just a few minutes. So, for today, it's going to be Monday, March 4th. Don't forget that at 11 o'clock a.m., we have Harker from the Fed giving a speech. Then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. Now, later on for the week, we have a lot of PMI reports coming out, lots of data when it comes to new orders and things like that for Tuesday. And then we have Jerome Powell giving a testimony on Wednesday. So we're going to hear Jerome Powell say something for the first time in a very long time. And we'll see what Jerome Powell says on Wednesday. So I just want to give you guys a little heads up about that. For today, the data is very quiet, very minor. It's not really anything much coming out. Uh, for earnings, we just had C announce its earnings, which did very, very well. Besides that, everything else that's coming out include like GitLab and a few others. And then for tomorrow, we have Neo, Target, Ross, and a few others like that. We have more retail for the rest of the week in Costco on Thursday, but for now, we'll just be looking at this one. So it's C Limited. The stock has jumped on better than expected fourth quarter sales, which is great news for them. The loss was only about 19 cents per share, better than expectations, and revenue is better than expected at $3.62 billion. So good revenue, good earnings, but on top of this, their e-commerce sales were up 23%, which is very, very good news for them. And finally, their December e-commerce sales increased 23%, and overall their guidance is not looking too bad. This is making people more and more excited about this with these nice little sales coming. So that being said, there's going to be more potential for this. There's a lot of excitement with the very, very big sales that came out. Guidance has been like decent, and that's enough for investors to get excited. So great news for C. Looking at what the market is basically going through, we hit all-time highs on Friday, but I showed you guys a pattern yesterday, and that is on SPY. SPY has a tendency of basically peaking either on Friday or Monday, and this happened for all of February. Then we tend to sell off on Tuesdays going into like Wednesday before we bounce again by Thursday. That's the pattern on SPY. And Friday was Friday was the last trading day, not yesterday, the last trading day. This could be the peak on SPY, or we could get one new peak for today before this thing starts to turn a little bit, cool back just a little bit, get a little pullback before we try to bounce again later on. I just want to call that out. That's the trend, and that's what's been going on so far. Reddit is seeking a valuation of $6.5 billion in its upcoming IPO, which is going to be very fun to play. We'll see how it goes. The share price of like $31 to $34. Pretty interesting stuff. Boeing is in talks to buy back Spirit Aero Systems, which is very, very useful for them. Both of the manufacturers have struggled with production flaws, but they're trying to turn that all around. That is some big news that has come out. That's why Spirit's shares are up 15%. Boeing's are actually down just a little bit because of other issues. A pharmacy chains like CVS, Walgreens will start selling the certain pills coming up very, very soon. We're going to be finding out to see whether or not all states allow it, but that is some big news that's come out. And then there's been a lot of other things coming out. Dune Part 2 has the highest open box office release in all of 2024 so far, so we'll see how that goes. I heard the first one was really good. I haven't seen it yet. Anyways, enough about movies. Let's talk about the charts. SPY to me looks a little bearish. It is starting to turn right about here. I'm going to be looking for a test of 510 very, very soon. Now, could we get one more little pop and then drop? Yes, we can, or we could just drop from here. But I am expecting this thing to essentially come down to 510 very soon. If that loses, 508.5 is going to be our next target. So let's see if there's one more little pop. Watch resistance at 512, 512.5 in that area, and watch this test right here. Can we break this high or not? If we fail to do so, expect 510 or even 508.5. So I'm seeing a little pullback coming to SPY. For the QQQ, very similar to SPY. I mean, it's still holding up nicely thanks to Nvidia. But make sure you watch this resistance at 446, also at 446.5. If we fail to break this resistance, expect it to start pulling back. 442 could be our first target, not to mention 440. But we'll see how well this pulls back. It might not be as strong of a pullback as SPY's because of the fact that Nvidia is still holding up nicely. Nvidia is actually a little bit stronger than what I was expecting. So there is a risk of the QQQ coming down, by the way, to 442, but wait and see if Nvidia turns. Uh, Nvidia is approaching resistance a little bit higher than what I was expecting. It's actually already at 842, but then we'll have to see 842 followed by 845 and 850. So if it does push a little bit more, we could get closer to 850 and then reject, or it could kind of reject from here. Just be careful. We have this imbalance down here to 833. So we'll see where Nvidia starts to turn at. This might turn a little bit temporarily. We also have this gap down below, but wait and see if we get a turn on Nvidia. This is what's going to lead the QQQ. So be very careful on Nvidia for now. And it is at 842. It's at resistance. We'll see how it ends up performing after that. On top of this, I just want to mention that there's, on top of Nvidia, we also happen to have uh, Tesla. Tesla is also turning just a little bit. It hasn't officially broken major support quite yet. We do have a quadruple top, but I wouldn't solely trade based off that pattern because we have to watch the support of 198. If we lose 198, Tesla could turn more bearish. To be bullish, you want to break 205. Right now, there's a risk of Tesla coming down because the February sales declined in China due to Chinese New Year, and this happened throughout the entire market. So other companies like NIO, XPeng, BYD all experienced the same thing. So there's going to be a risk of some downside. Tesla right now is holding 199. If we lose this, watch 198 as critical support. If Tesla loses that, I do expect a big drop that's coming down to 195, if not 192. Chinese sales are not that good, so be careful with Tesla, guys. I want to give you guys a warning, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so watch support. There's going to be a risk of Tesla coming down. For Apple stock, Apple's looking a little bit weaker. We called out 178. If we lost that, 176.5 is next. I told you all it might pop, hit this trend line, and then reject. Well, this morning, Apple did actually pop in the pre-market, then rejected, and now we're down to 176.5 as our critical support. If this fails, let's watch 176 to 175. Overall, there's a nice downtrend on Apple, and Apple's looking relatively weak. So with that being said, okay, I just wanted to say I thank all of you so much for listening. Please have a great day. There is a risk of some downside in the markets right now, so watch for that very carefully, and we'll have to see how it goes. Be careful, guys. Do what you have to do, especially on stocks like Tesla. And I'll see you guys very soon on the next one in just a couple of hours. Thank you for listening. Tesla in the markets, the long term is very bright despite this temporary downside, and peace out.